Hey guys, Nate here. Be sure to check out tomorrow's episode of the Deges where we talk to Tex from It's Never Dark Enough. He's going to swing by and give us his take on our gameplay. This episode, this one you're watching right now. Check it out tomorrow on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, or anywhere you find your podcasts.
Hey, dude.
There's no time.
There's
what? No time. We've got to dig in right away.
But
you're about to have your mind shattered. Today we're going to be playing the grimdark fantasy game called Shattered from It's Never Dark Enough. Indie. Special thanks to the creators, especially Tex and Zip, for sharing their vision and content with us.
Thanks, guys.
We hope to do it justice. So, what do we need to play?
I'm guessing some paper, maybe some dice, a pencil.
Indeed.
All right.
For this game, you will need a D4, D6, D8, and D10. You can also get character sheets and the world map for free at their website, neverdarkenough.com.
All right, cool. A map?
Oh yeah. Shatter takes place in the world of Feneryss. The world was abundant in resources and rich with culture and technology, until a cult the size of a small country performed a dark ritual to summon the evil deity Ragnarok into the world.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The ritual failed, but irreparable damage was done. Alien energies corrupted the planet and unspeakable horrors poured out from the Maw.
The Maw? That sounds like a terrible place, like the DMV or something. Why are we going there?
We'll have the opportunity to play exciting characters, able to navigate this darkness with extremely cool mechanics.
Okay.
For this session, I've carefully crafted each player's character because, quite frankly, creation is extensive, and I left these Deges up to their own devices. We'd spend the entire day.
Yeah, I think I saw that in your notes, but what's this about a classless system?
Yeah, classes, of course, refer to, say, Fighter, Rogue, Wizard in Dungeons & Dragons, or if you watch our Kids on Bikes game, these would be Popular Kid or Star Athlete. Instead here, you're given experience points like currency. You spend that on statistics like toughness/perception, skills like melee/stealth, or talents like Incite Riot.
Okay, all right. I think I'm starting to begin to understand why this is pretty cool.
Once we have our stats picked out, we will use a multi-die system based on these stats, and using what's called a die wrap.
All right, D4, D6, ready, chef.
Those would correspond to a 1 or a 2. Let's say I have a strength of 1 without any relevant skills. I use a D4. Then let's say I'm making an intimidation check, which is part of the strength group, which I have a single skill point in. So intimidation is a total of 2 from the 1 strength and the 1 in intimidation. So I would roll a D6. This continues on with 3 using a D8, 4 using a D10, and now the wrap starts. A 5 equals a D10 plus a D4.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense. Then a 6 would be a D10 plus a D6, and at 9, we start again with the 2d10 plus d4, all conveniently laid out on the character sheet, of course. Now, my question is, without a d20, can we still critically succeed?
Yes. If your roll is double or more of the check, you critically succeed. And there is a list of benefits in the book.
Like I gain an extra advantage during a performance?
Players make rolls, add the results, and they're weighed against the difficulty set by the GM. These are the unopposed checks. You can also make a check against someone else's rolls. Make sense?
I think so. Now, shh. I'm gonna go make a sneak roll out into the parking lot.
Okay, so that would be opposed by any observers, which there are none.
Right, we're the only 2 in this room. I make a lock-picking check on a blue Ford Focus.
Oh, okay. I guess that would be an unopposed check against the car's lock.
I now make a nature check on this mutant possum that I have hidden in a sack.
What did you do to Tony's car?
I didn't do anything to Tony's car, but we were talking about combat. So combat, let's go to combat. Don't worry, Tony, don't worry about your car, it's fine. Don't open the glove box.
So you know the VAT system from Fallout?
Yeah, that's where I zoom in and explode rad roaches.
Yes. In Shattered, you will spend AP, or action points, to perform a variety of maneuvers during combat. Let's go through the 4 possible stages, starting with surprise attacks.
All right.
So in the game, of course, that's when one side catches another unaware. Then we move on to initiative.
That's still the same as most games where we roll to see who goes first, right?
Yes. And what's unique?
Unique New York.
Unique New York.
The Human Torch has been denied a bank loan.
Yes. And what's unique here is that players will actually add all of their initiative rolls together and weigh that against the opponent's check. If the players win, they can choose the order of how they act to better strategize.
Wow, okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Then finally combat ends, and the group makes a collective medicine check and distributes the resulting recovered health as they see fit.
Huh, all right, interesting. You know, I love cooperation. So, you know, what do I do during combat?
So much, dude. I'm going to barrage you with options.
Dude, I'm ready. Bring them at me, bring them at me.
All right. You start with 5 AP. And there are combat actions like melee, ballistics, or hand-to-hand basic attacks, bull rush for moving opponents around, disarm, sunder/breaking weapons, grapple, trip, etc. And non-combat actions like drinking potions, moving, drawing a weapon, and all of these costing 1 to 5 AP. Each attack made against you can be reacted to once for free, being block, dodge, or resist. Should you get hit, some or all the damage can be reduced through damage reduction, which is the result of armor, shields, and abilities. And that's just the basics.
Wow, there sounds like there's plenty of room for tactics here.
Indeed. Once you get to the point of using maps, various weapons, and talents, you've got a comprehensive and rewarding system. We're still only at the tip of the iceberg.
So, okay, let me make sure I have everything in order. So there are 4 stages of combat: surprise, initiative, combat, and the end. And then during combat, to do anything on my turn, I spend AP. When I'm attacked, I can react for free. And then at the end, the team uses their sum of medicine to recover all of their health.
Yeah, spot on. Now let's talk about conditions.
Okay, those are easy because I learned all about these status conditions back when I was a kid with Pokemon Red. You get like sleep, there's paralysis, there's burn. That's all I can think of right now.
I mean, those are definitely conditions, but there's a lot more to consider than simply taking damage or snoring. First, there are battle conditions. These describe more your position. You may be prone, grappled, shooting into close combat, or swinging a broken weapon. All of these alter checks, like if you're prone, you are stealthier and can better balance your rifle, reflected by a +3 to those checks. However, you can only move half your typical stride. When attacking someone who is prone, you would gain bonuses to melee or hand-to-hand, and take penalties to shoot them.
Will be stealthier while prone. Got it.
In broader terms, conditions are a state that has some debilitating effect. There are 20 of these listed, and there could feasibly be more. So a few examples that I think will come up are inebriated, bleeding, and fatigued. Like every gang in a sitcom, a bar is the classic gathering point. Should one drink too much and become inebriated, he or she will take a -1 penalty on agility, perception, and willpower. These can worsen, and the duration can extend depending on how excessively they go.
So, all right, let's take a stab at bleeding. A person is considered bleeding when they take ongoing damage from an open wound, right?
Wow, you're a cut above.
I see what you did there.
If one starts to bleed, they take damage that ignores damage reduction and persists each round until a medicine check is made equal to twice the damage.
Unless you're Wolverine.
Yeah, unless you have a regenerative mutant power, which is possible.
Oh, whoa, what?
The world is permeated with magic. Mutations are another part of life in Feneryss, especially for the wretched race. Or you could just have biogenic surgery to change your appearance, regenerate lost limbs, or spit acid. Let's get back on track though. Fatigue plays a significant role in gameplay. Fatigue is the amount of stress you can endure traveling the wasteland. This can result from physical or mental activity. Your fatigue threshold is equal to half your toughness to start, which is how much you can take before penalties set in. Each point of fatigue beyond this threshold gives a stacking -1 to all skill checks. In addition, you must make a physical resolve check equal to your total fatigue or immediately fall unconscious.
Huh, that sounds dangerous.
You could easily be attacked and your health could fall below 0, which means critical health. There is a chart in the guide denoting what happens as your health continues to dip into the negatives, and a -25 results in automatic death. When you initially drop below 0, you will make a stabilization check using physical resolve immediately, and it has to equal 4 plus your critical health. Should you fail, you will have 2 more chances. Others can use medicine checks to stabilize you at the same difficulty. But if everybody fails and you fail all 3 of these checks, that's when you'll die regardless.
All of this just because I decided to, run a marathon, become way too fatigued, and go prone.
Yep, and if that wasn't bad enough, you must also deal with constant fear and paranoia.
Oh no, you mean Iron and Argon has spread from Minnesota to Feneryss? Nelson Sr., we need you.
Yes, you better believe it. Like physical resolve checks made against fatigue, we have mental resolve checks against how scary things are. There is a handy chart listing examples of how scary something is, like pools of blood being a 1 to 5, warranting a gasp level of fear.
How much exactly is a pool of blood?
You mean like the numeric volume?
Well, yeah, if I get into a hot tub filled with blood, is that like gasp level, or do we mean like an Olympic-sized swimming pool?
I think it means a small puddle.
Oh. So if I have a balloon filled with blood and I throw it, is that gasp level?
I mean, if I threw a hand-sized balloon at you and blood exploded from it, you'd probably gasp.
I'd probably do more than that. Got it. So they make a mental resolve check versus the fear rating, and if they fail, something hinders them.
Yes, correct. Over time, paranoia will likely also come into play. In addition to short-term fear reactions, there can be long-term consequences. To mitigate paranoia, you will either develop compulsions, neuroses, or eccentricities, but we'll save those for another time. Right? There are rules for the environment, vision, concealment, hazards, traps, etc. There are rules for airships, how to create monsters, magic, psi abilities. There is a rich lore and an abundance of good rules. We'll show more examples of the rules through our gameplay, but know there is more to this cool system. Let me do a rapid-fire breakdown before we start. A GM will oversee a recommended 3 to 5 players in a grimdark fantasy world. Players create characters using one of 8 races and builds them using experience points as currency to buy stats, skills, or talents. Each stat has at least one skill that benefits from them. Combat skills and non-combat skills are distinguished by the bow and arrow. You will make checks either by rolling against the skill of someone else or an unopposed set difficulty. The dice used correspond to the value listed on your sheet. During combat, you start with 5 AP and use varying amounts to perform your actions. Combat is tactical, and you roll dice for initiative, attacking, damage, skills, reacting to attacks, and recovery. there are conditions and environmental factors that modify or inhibit outcomes. You will need to resist fatigue and fear.
Is that all?
Nope, but it's a start. Let's play.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome to Deges and Dragons. Today we are playing the Grimdark game Shattered, brought to you by It's Never Dark Enough. This game has a rich history in its own world, Feneryss, or Feneryss, spanning 3 millennia prior to the present date. I definitely encourage you to look into it on your own, but for this session, I will give a brief synopsis of the formation, and then we will explore but a fragment of the entire landscape. So, 600 old world time. Civilization reaches its peak. Humans populate an expansive planet on the precipice of advanced technology with abundant animal and plant life. Year 0 old world. Then came the Reckoning. So imagine, if you will, the cult the size of a country named the Ellipse, committing a horrific dark ritual. This was in an attempt to summon forth the alien deity called Ragnarok to begin his reign over the world. Fortunately, they failed. However, the magical energies were still released, ending life across the planet and horribly maiming it. The Ellipse who survived were disfigured and branded as those who destroyed Feneryss. So it's like Silent Hill, where they have like the triangle head. It's like super creepy. So it's not like that huge, but they have like little triangle heads with like a gem in the center. That's the Ellipse. They're very obvious, though they do have the ability to appear as regular humans. That's common knowledge for everybody, so make sure you guys know that. So, a massive fissure in the earth, the Maw, allowed the flow of arcana, with the K, and umlaut over the second A, to permeate the land, and unimaginable creatures cross over to now roam. 484 post-reckoning. The city of Pulse, where our characters will be in the distant future, is first established. Known for its immense walls, inclusive culture, and recruitment attempts, people gather and build there. Skip ahead past all sorts of tribulations, wars, developing cities, blah blah blah. 2746 post-reckoning. The Arcanic Drive, or Arc Drive, was developed. What this machine does is support its own gravitational field while countering that of the planets. So this creates the illusion of flying, but basically people can now fly all over the planet, and it's hugely changed the economy and social relations and everything, where cities basically didn't know that like 100 miles down the road there was another massive city. Now the whole world is interconnected with the ability to fly all over the place easily. So many have claimed that they had discovered or built the Arc Drive, but essentially everybody who has made such claims has been caught in a lie. So now it's like a legend. The mad mechanic made this Arc Drive that now changed the world, and nobody knows who it is. It's, just some guy or girl. So 2762 post-reckoning, or 1 Arcanic Era, which is our current era. The War of Fools ends, which was a struggle over access to clean flowing water in the city of Lokeren. Lokeren essentially threatened to blow up the water source. So war immediately ended. There's free flowing clean water is not something that we can just access. So then the Cistern Accords are signed. Lokeren becomes a sovereign state. A universal calendar across the entire world is created, which consists of 3 seasons. And a common currency called notes is put into place. So every major city, country, whatever, uses notes. They all use the same calendar. What that is divided up by is there's something called the Undead Tide, where a massive, massive horde of zombies just sort of roams the planet in a set course, and they've discovered that they go by the same places at the same times each year, if you will. So that's how it was built. It's essentially where the undead roam is how the seasons are denoted, and it's at this point a science. Like it's down to like the day at this point. They have really put a lot of effort into marking this path, but also nobody really knows why the Undead Tide does this. So where the magic is, so deeply embedded into the earth, and necromancy is something that is happenstance. Some of our characters will, be back from the dead, and if you do die, your soul will like go to a specific place, and you can like go to like wrestle it back to its body and stuff. There's a lot of like, death is not permanent by any stretch here. So, what's the deal with Pulse, where we are? It's one of the oldest places in all of Feneryss after the Reckoning. When humanity barely survived in bivouacs, they talked of the legendary spire that stretched towards the sky. Tired of meager survival, eventually people traveled in droves in search of this fable, which turns out exists. A group known as the Iron Ring was charged with defending the city and named it Pulse, believing it would be the heart of the land. With the bright future in mind, they mapped out their plan with a set of rules called the Mandate. So essentially all residents were required to maintain a useful skill or useful trade to build up the city continuously. Many people rediscovered meaning to their lives, where they were just surviving before. Now they're in an actual place with a purpose, and they can create things. The fire of industry roared, and giant war machines, as well as an army, were built unlike anything since pre-Reckoning. Skip ahead 1,400 years or so, a fishing vessel belonging to Pulse was attacked by a ship in the sky. The Iron Ring believed they were insane and discharged them. The citizens, however, grew restless that nobody was at least checking out this story. Eventually, another vessel was attacked once more from a ship in the sky. Citizens began rioting, no longer confident with the Iron Ring's rule. A young, charismatic officer named Brecht led the coup d'etat successfully. Brecht loved the past traditions, though, and he divided Pulse into a number of sections that exist today. So the city district and military branches are in very distinct places, and he became like the Iron Lord, and then created other Iron Lord positions. So there's like a Lord of the Navy, Lord of the Army, Lord of the like secret police, and Lord of the Forge. So the city itself now has 5 spires that are enormous and grow each day. Where most citizens live is the Quarterlock. That's where all of you will live. And that itself is also broken up. So you can go between them freely, but there are people who are at each gateway to like the next place. So in order to maintain safety and whatnot.
Checkpoints and whatnot.
Yeah, checkpoints. And so the police are called pathfinders, and they will just kind of roam the city, but also be at these set checkpoints. Let's see, let's skip all this. So the outside of the walls is called Downtrod, and the police have the ability to just exile people who they see as criminals or deviant. And instead of just roaming the waste, they just settle directly outside the walls. So this area is protected by the Vampire Coven Stelier. It looks German, so it's Stelier. But yeah, so they kind of protect that. So that's why people have found safety just outside the walls, even though the Undead Tide will pass right by. So, let's see. So as I said earlier, we're in the season of Frontella. All individuals in Pulse rest easy. So let me give you a snapshot of the playable races. The Ellipse are those descended from the original cultists. They have the odd triangular heads with the single gem-like eye in the center, and are often seen with disdain still, like 3,000 years later, for ruining the world. They have the ability, however, to appear as humans, and can retain this ability even while sleeping. The Wretched are those who survived out as nomads in the wastes and underground. They have mutated more than anyone else, leading them to be strong, and have warped aspects that make them valuable, such as being a literal walking power source. Vampires are those who lived in caves and require blood to survive. They have formed covens around Feneryss, where they have become civilized, mostly. Drones are those people who became obsessed with achieving perfection through modifying themselves. The result now is mostly machine-like people that are rumored to kidnap people for experiments. The other 4 races our players are playing. So, tell us about yourself.
So I am playing a Shade. We hail from the Glassed Forest, which in a quick summary is identified as a giant death trap, where survival is the utmost important thing, and if you can't keep up, you die, effectively. I am 24 years old, and I have already been considered a man for well over half of my life because of this. I stand about 4'9", so pretty lithe build, very skinny. He wears jet black leather armor that is embroidered with gold music notes, it looks like. Also has leather armor on either arm with a little bandana with just a single music note right over where the lips would be. Dark gray hair, light gray eyes. Skin is very ashen in color. The Shade race themselves apparently are born with vestigial vocal cords, so they do not have the ability to verbalize speech, so we communicate telepathically, which is unsettling to all of the other races, from what I am reading. And yeah, that is where I hail from.
All right. I am Trumpet Royale. I am a 8'3" enormous Florvana. They are basically a fungus race of giant, sort of mushroom-looking people. Even for my race, I am extremely tall. I'm only 3 years old. But I've had a pretty exciting and eventful life so far. Florvana have the unique ability to not be rekindled, but instead, if I go up in a puff of smoke, I could literally just release a single polyp and regrow my entire body in 72 hours. I have, after a number of treacherous things have happened in my life, I have ended up at Pulse. I work in a shop as a bodyguard. You'll also notice that I have a giant heater shield that I walk around with, but I do not wear any armor or any weapon. And I tend to have a Wild Western accent, as Florvana tend to imitate a lot of the other races.
Mine's going to be underwhelming after that. My character's name is Dirk. He is a 27-year-old ex-military fighter. Little about his background. He grew up mostly orphaned with his sister Dee. After Dirk came back from combat, which was a very harrowing experience, rife with torture and being basically one of the only folks left in his unit. He came back to Quarter Pulse, and his sister installed an extra heart for Dirk, as well as gave him regenerative capabilities. because she pitied him for all of the bodily mutation and torture he had gone through. Basically, he had been held captive by vampires, and they had drained his heart to the point where it wasn't functioning properly, so hence the second heart. Humans in general are they're seen as very wily and pack-like almost. They're very proud, and they look with condescension on the non-human races. They have a great capacity for radical thought, and they're always seen as very striving. And so they're, just be very intelligent. Relationship-wise, they don't believe in monogamy fully because they believe that having multiple partners will over time make the race stronger. And that's their goal, is to be quick-witted survivors and thrive amongst all of these other races in this shattered world. First name drop. Looks-wise, I would say Dirk, it looks like he hasn't seen the sun very much, mostly because he hasn't seen the sun very much. He hangs around a lot, mostly with... he doesn't have many of his own friends. He mostly meets people through his sister because his trauma from the war has made him unable or unwilling to socialize and make a lot of friends. But he does hang out at a bar near his apartment that he owns, and spends most of his days either reading or going down to the bar and not talking to most people.
All right, I will be playing Moors Glacieus today. Moors is a rekindled, which is one of our many dead and returned individuals in the world of Shattered. Second name drop. And so rekindled, when they are brought back, have a great amount of amnesia of their previous life and world, and so the search for self generally characterizes their search. In the case of Moors, that's not gone too well, so he has set up shop, literally, by owning a small trade store called House in the city, which is not very profitable, so he uses it as a front to fence goods for his friends. Moors specifically is 6'2", which would normally be relatively tall for the 4'4" 3-year-old in the room. So he's relatively tall and well built. He does have dark black pupils all the way through, which are almost like a matte black, so it's almost like looking into a hole in his eyes. So he's got an unsettling sort of demeanor that kind of bridges the gap between human and unhuman. So he's got this uncanny sort of feel to him. His body does look mostly human, but a little ragged, definitely pale, almost as if he were at death's doorstep, if it weren't for his graceful demeanor. So he's got this weird evocation that when you see him, you kind of feel both like, something's not right, but at the same time, this very gracious, outboarding sort of, you're drawn towards him, but you're also slightly unnerved by how weird he looks, so your mind almost can't place him into a specific category. He becomes very enchanting in this way. So that's kind of Glacieus's mode that he plays with.
All right. So,
I think I forgot to say my character's name, which is Glint Edge, or GE to his friends or allies.
okay, so yeah, all the characters have met previously. It's kind of like a surprise. These are who you are now. So we begin today at about 5 p.m. outside the usual bar, with the group heading in for their usual drinks. At Alchemy is the name of the bar. So they have beakers like on top of like where like the smokestacks would be, and there are neon lights that go up, so it looks like there's always like chemicals kind of like coming out. So through a dank, brightly lit alleyway, foot traffic is particularly dense at the end of a shift from work. J2 Avenue has developed a reputation of late for being safe to traverse. The most notable businesses amongst the apartment buildings are Alchemy and House. Both have carved out sterling reputations, thanks in part to the diverse crew overseeing them. So, you guys are inside. You're all there. Dee is also there, Dirk's sister, who is friendly with the whole group. She is, actually, I think, who is the best description of her? Probably Jonas is, actually. I mean, most Glacieus.
Yeah. Yes, a 28-year-old female military scientist. She has straight crimson-dyed red hair, though she is a natural crimson redhead. She has various animal tattoos, wears a lab coat with zebra stripes and jeans with tears in them. She is constantly smoking mushrooms, no offense to those in the room, from an elongated wooden pipe she made. She adopted 2 guinea pigs that were experimented on, which are now 3 foot and 40 pounds. She calls them the Bobs, and they're constantly chittering around her protectively. She has, air quotes, trust issues, where she doesn't think she knows who to trust, but haphazardly trusts Moors, that's me, for no real reason, which is how I prefer it. She's been known to laugh at her own jokes. It's best to chuckle along while she is quirky and volunteers to change random babies' diapers. She is quite skilled at her job. For several years now, she has been the first scientist in the field whenever something of note pops up. This is a mix between no other scientist being brave enough and because she has succeeded following through on these suicide missions.
Yeah, so she's there. And you actually see inside there's a new bartender named Joey Z. He's clean-shaven, middle-aged man with spiky hair. A single figure looms in the back corner booth. This is weird to you because Incognito is the typical bartender who's stout with a long beard, and he is always at this shift. So it's weird to see Joey Z here now.
Have we met Joey Z before?
So
Or is it just like a new face entirely?
Yeah, it's basically a new face entirely. You may have like seen him around, but you've never really had him as a bartender.
I suppose I will inquire telepathically. Where are our old friends at?
I don't know, man. Incognito apparently just didn't show up for work, so I got called in for this shift, which not really looking like a great shift with just the 6 of you people here.
Argue it's the best shift.
I mean, yeah, definitely. What can I get you?
Well, I would say the usual, but you don't know that. Just whatever's on draft tonight.
Ooh, we have grain alcohol on draft.
Let's go with some of that.
So he pours out like a 16-ounce cup of grain alcohol.
Just like 99% grain alcohol.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I am 70 pounds. I'm going to take one sip of this and just be floored.
Yeah, he takes out just like a little droplet. He like taps it, and the color just changes blue. Like, oh, it's just standard to make sure all of our drinks look like chemical compounds here. Part of the flair. Blue, good. Yeah.
We would know that. That's common knowledge that they dye their drinks blue.
Yes. Yeah.
So him putting a droplet of a strange liquid in there would not arouse suspicion.
It wouldn't.
Okay.
I probably just watch the color change, just avidly, just watching it from top to bottom.
So pretty. Can I use my pheromones to smell the drink? Or is that mostly just smell?
That's for other people.
It's only for other people. Okay. Just.
But I mean, you can smell the drink though.
Okay. No spores in my drink.
There's like a
Roy
difference in my drink.
Am I sitting?
Yeah, it's just like no spores in my drink, please.
Am I next, like sitting next to him at the bar?
Yeah, you gotta sit like this.
But he said there were 6 of us, so it's us, Heidi, and
And then
Stranger
there's
in
a
the bar.
stranger in the corner.
Yeah.
stranger in the corner. And we have not seen this stranger before either.
Correct.
Is he-
and
is-
there's a large hood too, so
Is he drinking anything?
yes.
He's got a glass. It's blue from him.
It's actually like kind of like murky, like it like looks like polluted water.
Ooh.
and he's sipping it through a wooden straw.
About that environment. Multiple straws, very important.
Yeah. I'll have what he's having.
In the corner?
Yeah.
That's our daily special. We call it the Splinter. It's alcohol mixed with some blended, muddled rat feet for that little spice, and a wooden straw. You know, that nice woody taste.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. I'm going to lean in and say, I'll have 2 of them.
All right. Three splinters.
Yeah, hit me.
4 splinters. All right. So you sit there, and he like literally pulls out like a satchel of like rat feet and just tosses it in a bowl and starts muddling it in front of you. And this is like not a very common spice used, rat feet, but alchemy is known for its crazy drinks, so
Does it create a pool for us?
How afraid are we?
So they're dried rat feet.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
no blood
Sure,
at all.
sure.
Yeah.
I understand. I had to ask that.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. All right, so he's sitting there, he muddles them up. D is also feeling adventurous and orders a splinter. So muddles up a whole bunch of splinters for the group, lays them all out. The bobs are chittering about.
I scritch one of the bobs behind me here.
Yeah, it likes that.
I just want to ask D about the chemical composition of the rat feet. And like, are there any like psychoactive effects? Is it like, does it do anything?
So she like she just takes a look at it and says like, rat feet, like if not dried properly, could definitely cause some sort of illness. But the amount of alcohol should counteract the illnesses here. Like you get weird stuff from alchemy. Like they do typically do a pretty good job of making sure things are safe despite how strange they are. So she's like on board that it should be safe.
Do you know where our the bartender has gone, or the reason why he wasn't able to make his shift?
Nah, I haven't seen him. Can I roll an awareness check on the other figure at the end of the line?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What would I roll for that? A 20?
So the
No. Oh, sorry, you're right. So I'm rank 2, so that'd be 1d6?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the wraparound system for Shattered. You, depending on your skill rank, you get a particular die, which goes D4 to D10, and then it wraps around. Where the next tier up, you would do a D10 plus a D4, so on and so forth.
Can I aid him in an awareness check? That makes sense.
Yeah.
I rolled a 3, if you want to roll.
So do I roll, or does he just get one, or if I'm aiding him?
Yeah, so if you're, just add 1.
Just add 1. That's what I did.
Okay, so a 4, essentially. So in the corner, you really get down, and the two of you kind of whisper to each other, like gathering what little things you can about the composition of like this person's face and whatnot. Definitely looks like sort of a wretched that you've not seen before in the area or around Corderlock at all. And this person has not showed up to drinks at this hour either. The person looks kind of wrinkly, not necessarily from age, just from weird wretched mutations, and the build makes him look scrappy.
Does he look wide?
Wide? I mean, not as wide as you.
Right.
But by wretched standards, pretty average.
Okay.
And so this is our usual bar. On any random day, how often would a new person be there? Is like a new person there like an event? Because like the city's just that small.
So So basically, everybody goes to the Gray Shade Tavern, where the bartender there is like well known throughout town. He's a human who has modded himself and has 2 extra arms. So he does like all these like really fancy, you know, just like the flair flipping multiple bottles at once and makes, you know, pours out like double drinks at the same time, quadruple drinks at the same time. So this is kind of like your spot, you know, like, yeah, once in a while, yeah, somebody new will come over where they're feeling adventurous, like, oh, all right, I'll try some crazy new drink over at Alchemy. But the reputation of this area is becoming more safer and safer with the 4 of you.
We're gentrifying the situation.
I was just about to say.
Yeah. So I just remembered one of my my traits. So I'm gonna order a splinter and take my drink and the splinter over to the table and introduce myself.
So
I just have a question. Sorry. You said that it's become safer because we're around. What about us as a group makes the place safer?
So one, the 8-foot-tall mushroom guy is very intimidating.
Okay.
They're not around, and even for Florvana, he's massive. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the reputation of Moors is like, you know, we're talking about it's enchanting and multiple races will look at him, you know, kind of similarly like, oh, I'm not sure what this guy's deal is, but he's cool. Cool as ice.
Cool as ice, even.
Glacieus.
But basically, like, he's also like non-violent in his approach. So like people will come and like trust him with certain things, and it's basically always there where if I'm not being an idiot, I'm going to be safe, and that's the combination. And he too like leads people here as a
city guide.
Yeah, it's like a city guide, because like Horlock is like so dense where it's just like stacks on stacks of apartment buildings and condos and whatnot, and you really need a guide if you're unfamiliar with a certain, even just like the next section over.
And just so happens a lot of the paths lead right by the bar in this area. It's like, oh, hey, you're thirsty? Let's stop in here before we continue on.
Yeah, and even like he himself, like he is a like sizable sword.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I do have a sword.
A sizable sword.
Yeah. Well, for me, I mean, it's probably a regular size sword for you guys. Yeah. I'm a little person.
And a small sword.
It's a dagger. It's a butter knife.
So he walks over, and he just tells people it's safe too.
Yeah. So sure. Okay. It's safe here. Okay. I mean, it's where I live, so it must be safe.
Okay, yeah, so you walk over and
I sit down right across from him and just slide over the splinter to try to make it clink his drink, and just give a friendly wave, and I kind of point to my head and point to him, just kind of indicating, are you okay with psychic communication?
Oh, how nice of you. So he just nods.
And then I will say in his mind, welcome to Alchemy. What brings you in, friends?
Oh, I was just passing by. I saw the cool smoke coming out of the top of the building, and they don't make drinks strong enough for us wretched over there, so I thought maybe that this place would have something for my speed.
Strong and peculiar is the motto here. Well, there's plenty of room over at the bar if you want to join me and my friends.
Oh, I would love nothing more.
And his grin is awkward, but it's also wretched. So
looks normal to me. He seems like a friendly guy.
I keep my eyes on Moors and the stranger.
I'll reach out my hand. It's like Glint Edge. My friends call me GE.
My name is Jonas Grams.
Does that name raise any with local lore? Should I roll or thinking it's Grams?
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever wants to name.
Yeah, I'll bring him over. I'm just like, hey guys, this is Genghis Gramps.
What type of a roll is that? Awareness?
So to know his name, some sort
Lore,
of lore.
local. Right, yeah. I'm gonna use my lore local.
Okay. I will also do lore.
So I have 4, unless somebody would like to assist me.
I roll a 6.
Well, there you go.
Because I'm rating 2. So that's 1d6, so I roll 6. Have we ever heard that name before? Or does that raise any suspicions?
So you're confident that he's not from this section of Cordovan, right? For certain.
And I have not seen him in house before.
And you've not seen him in house before, and it's vague. Like I could have sworn you've heard the name somewhere. Right.
I'll walk him over and introduce him. No need to drink alone, friends.
Greetings. The name's Genghis Gramps.
I just give him a blank look and go back to reading my book.
Hello, Gramps. What brings you to our establishment?
I just didn't think the Grey Shade Tavern had what I was looking for. And they certainly did, because this splinter is delicious.
I am going to raise one big arm and pat him on the back and say, I agree.
So as you pat him on the back, he like reflexively like jerks a little bit, like he's a little startled by it, and he like looks you up and down.
Don't worry, I'm just looking for a drink.
So, drinks is all you're looking for, or is there anything else you're looking for?
If you know somebody, I might be looking to move some merchandise.
Be arranged. Depends on the merchandise. Do you have it on you, or is that another location? Or?
I do happen to have it on me, but I'd rather we're in a safer location.
Of course.
Take it out.
Naturally. Kind of figured people don't show up on our doorstep unless they're looking for something special. So.
Glad we're on the same page here.
This is Dirk just reading his book.
I'm taking it all in.
The exact same page.
I can't read.
He's been on that exact same page for
If he's
3 days
wearing
now.
If he's wearing a blindfold, I am gonna die.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. When the situation calls for it, I will pull out my blindfold. Sorry.
I look over at Moors nervously.
Yeah, the Bobs seem rather uncomfortable by his presence. They retreat to buy D, just like chopping.
I believe the Bobs furiously.
You'll do what?
I believe the Bobs.
Oh, believe them.
Yes.
Believe them with fury. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I deal with shady characters all the time. So.
Yeah.
This guy's on the level.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't become a fence and you're like queasy by a few wretches at one time, right? So. Yeah. Well, we can sit here and enjoy our drinks. There's no need to run a good time, but when we're all ready, we can retire to house. I have a back room where business is usually conducted very safely.
I'd very much like to see that back room.
Again, I look at Moors nervously.
And so like standing up to actually walking over height wise, he's like 6'2". He's like the same height as you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm comfortable following his lead, given his line of business.
Perfect.
Okay.
G. Dirk. The company is.
Nice.
I stand up and bend down and walk slowly towards the door behind yours.
Okay, so what's like the marching order here?
Oh, hate it when somebody asks that question.
That's a little question.
I'm just.
Is D coming with us?
D's not.
No, D's sticking there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna be as close to Moors as I can.
Yeah. I would say me and you in the front, because I've got to go unlock everything. You'll be with me, and then those two bringing up the rear. And
Yeah, probably be in the rear, just watching him stay.
Shady Grandpa in the middle.
Yeah, or in the middle. Keep Genghis Gramps in the middle.
Genghis Gramps in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, so us two in front, then Genghis Gramps, and then you two in the back.
Yeah, I'll play it off. You know, hey, we've been in the business a long time, so certainly we don't want anything bad to happen to you. We don't want anything bad to happen to us, so we're gonna just fan out around you if you don't mind.
Right. I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to any of us.
Right, yeah. So, until I get eye on this material, I don't know if there's someone after you, it, or us. So let's keep it to this formation as we travel over the house, shall we?
All right. So, and then asking to follow up about Dee. She typically actually takes like a cabbie back to the inner circle of Pulse, where the military and the all the labs and like all of like the very secure stuff is at the center, and so she typically goes back there where she's a valued scientist. All right, so. You arrive outside house to an eerie stillness surrounding the building. The stereotypical "it's too quiet" is rather prevalent given the overpopulation. You look in either direction and suddenly there's nobody outside. A 2-foot cylindrical package sits at the threshold with a note attached.
So I'm pretty skilled in detecting traps, and I feel like my extrasensory abilities are useful for, kind of, I feel like being the kind of quiet one is sort of the role I fill, so I'd like to kind of throw some eyes to him and kind of move silently up to the package just to get a beat on things.
Okay. I very quickly move between the Wretched and Morse. Yeah. And just stand in front of him with my arm out. Yeah.
I'm just staying vigilant. If it's too quiet, then I'm just like, wait, this should be more people on the street than this. At this time of day?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Can I... What is that? What would that be? Like a security or a scrutiny check? Or just an awareness check of the area?
Just to see if there's anybody in the area. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the awareness.
3.
Yeah, so you feel pretty comfortable that there just aren't people around. Not that you're comfortable with the fact there aren't people around, just that in your confidence that there aren't others around. Okay. And you like moving towards the package, you don't feel like you don't get that sixth sense, like the spider sense.
I was gonna say, for the viewers and for everyone, I have a talent called. It's literally called "I've Got a Bad Feeling," and it means if there's a trap within 3 meters of me, I become acutely aware of it, even though you still have to roll to identify the precise location.
Okay.
So you said my spidey sense is not tingling.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm gonna read the note on the package.
Okay. Please hold on to this for safekeeping. I know I can trust you. There is no signature, and the package appears locked.
Do I recognize the handwriting?
Oh, I can roll for that.
Okay. What should I be rolling? Which skill or stat?
So,
maybe like
all your lore is the same, right?
My lore is the same, but like I was gonna say like a scrutiny or something like that.
So, yeah, you can make a scrutiny check.
Scrutiny check. Okay. 4. So I have a rating of 4, so I'm gonna roll 1d10. It's a 5.
A 5. The writing, you recognize the writing as like military, but you don't know exactly who, but just like very common, like the way notes are written from one military guy to another.
Mm-hmm. How big is the package, you said?
So it's cylindrical and it's yay large.
Yay big. Okay. Yeah, I'll just pick up the package then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you expecting anything, Morse?
You always are expecting something when you're in this line of trade. Let's take it inside and see what business we have to conduct, shall we?
Okay.
I'm going to walk into the building first, just to give it a once-over before Morse walks in.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
I want to kind of whisper to him that the package checks out.
Cool.
Okay, so you'll all go inside. Basically, you, Genghis.
Yeah.
Then fourth.
Sure.
So,
You're being very precise about this.
I thought initiative wasn't a thing.
so while you're still outside and you step in, you now your spidey sense is tingling.
All right, yeah. So
No
I
bad
immediately
feeling.
put out my hands.
Okay.
I take out my shield.
So I see him get kind of stressed out a little bit, and I am going to try to reach out psychically to see if there are anyone else here other than us. So that is a psi roll. 4, so 10. Yeah. And this is, what was this?
So
Psychic probe. So I'm reaching out to see if there's any other sentient life forms in the immediate area, and my result will depend on how well I do. So that's an 8. So that's the first result. So I know how many sentient life forms are present within my range of influence.
Within your range of influence. So there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Just 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 5 of us present.
Mm-hmm.
So I just say 5 plus 1.
Fun. Okay, and I'm gonna try to attune to determine the precise location, which is an awareness check for me. So that is a 5.
Rank 5?
Rating of 5. Yep. So I get a 1d10 plus 1d4.
Get it, Dirk.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Genghis Gramps turns around and sees you. Do the 5 and the 1.
The result's a 10.
10. So you are aware that there is a trap leading into the back room.
Okay.
Yeah, I inform.
Yeah, so you you can kind of see like something is different the way like the door typically is. Like the weight is shifted.
The way to shift. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna I'll tell the group as much, and then I'm gonna look at Genghis Gramps.
Yeah, I'll turn to Genghis Gramps at this point and say, oh, well, this is awful strange. It's been a busy day. Your stranger shows up. We also get mail. That's unusual. Now the back door is trapped. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Gramps?
Roll initiative.
Oh wait, I thought there was no initiative. I thought we just decided.
You
roll initiative.
you roll, and your group roll is your initiative, and then you can decide your order.
Oh, okay.
So initiative is at the top.
Oh, right there. Cool.
Yeah, to the left of the huge number.
I got a 1.
Yes. 4.
I got a 10.
Nice.
10.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well done, Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk. I too also rolled the highest I could. So.
Dirk.
What is it?
I also rolled the highest I could.
I rolled
Nobody even cares.
Yeah, is that not automatically a crit there?
That's very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
Way better than mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Your
your
psychic probe took it out of me.
so your collective initiative is going to. It's going to be like a critical difference. So I'd say that you can see him like making a movement. You're like all of you react very quickly to now him going silent and starting to react.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say you get a like surprise attack on him.
All right.
But he hasn't spread the information that there's another person yet, so we don't know that.
He
Did he send out a
He
signaled us?
signaled
Okay.
fingers. Yeah.
So we also know there's someone is somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah. I should also state too, I can telepathically choose who I'm talking to, so I
Okay.
can theoretically talk to the 3 of you, excluding Graham.
Okay. Good.
I am not gonna. I would prefer not to attack first and stay blocking with my shield out, protecting Moors.
I don't know that I would have carried my crossbow to the bar, considering the size of a crossbow, what kind of secondary weapons might I have? Would maybe like a dagger or like some concealed weapon of some kind?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that
or anything in the shop lying around.
There's definitely random stuff in the shop lying around, but I would say that given your what's the right word? Apathy, I guess, but like first level suspicion of Gramps, that from the bar itself probably would have just like grabbed a knife or the the straw and like fashioned it into
like a shiv.
Yeah, like shank him with that, or like you would have just like grabbed a couple things.
Yeah, sure.
That you would have on hand. But in the shop itself, I mean, it's just oddities. So maybe there is just like a glass that you can just like crack it, and
like a beer glass from the bar.
Yeah, or a beer glass from the bar. You stole a lot of stuff from the bar.
Yeah. Okay.
Dee's looking around the bar like, where did all the drinks go? He just has like a bag like
pint glasses from different bars.
Yes. One of the bobs is missing for some reason.
Oh my god! There's a rustling on his back.
I wield the bob.
Oh my god. Yeah, you pull up your trench coat and the bob's just like strapped to your back like, ah!
Bite his face off.
Yeah.
Alright.
I kind of like the concealed shiv.
Yeah.
Sort of thing based on suspicion. Okay, so I'll go with the shiv.
So you want to attack first?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
But I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no, sure.
The weapons I had at least.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to inspire everyone.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
So that's, I will definitely take that. Yeah, first of all, I'm going to inspire everyone. So do we have to all declare what we're doing and then we roll, or should I roll first and then affect what people are doing?
I think it's fine to just do you and then see what happens. Like they talk about this. This is a real strategy. Why they do it this way is really the same strategy.
GE's first course of action is to try to confuse Genghis.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got a 4 on a command check, so I don't think that means anything. Because it's a gain of +1 bonus to resolve and physical attack for every 10 points rolled on a command check. So I rolled a 4. So that doesn't even round up to 10.
Because with the command skill, you can still do stuff.
Okay. That's true, right? Yeah.
So, with command, lead friends, allies, and even the common folk in conflict, guiding them to victory and bolstering the morale. So, you can do rally for 1 AP per ally. The character wishes to rally, they may attempt to reduce their reaction on the fear scale. And orders. In combat, 2 AP. Orders can be given to as many NPCs as the character desires within hearing range of their voice. So you could order Genghis to do something.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll order him to stop whatever he's doing.
Yes.
Remind him he's outnumbered.
Yeah.
Let him know that we've got the drop on him.
Cut it out, Genghis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he immediately just puts his hands up.
Nice.
I'm just going to take my shiv and put it to his throat. Just for some additional assistance.
Yeah. Nice.
Would his friend like to make themselves known? We know there's another person here,
So he also looks surprised at this, that you just know that there's somebody else around. So he doesn't give them up though. He just scowls.
Alright, so in lieu of him being sedated temporarily, I think GE will instead try to move off into the corner while leaving a little illusion double of himself and kind of sneak off and try to hide somewhere.
Okay, so the desk itself is semicircular, and it's good height, like 4 feet high. Speed easily.
It's kind of duck underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll leave my image at like the door, and just kind of like double move quickly over to that and just kind of duck and hide underneath there. And my stealth. I thought I had stealth. It's
Be under agility.
Oh, yep, right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Look at that. It's a total of 6 for my stealth check.
Okay. So you move behind the desk stealthily. There's the umbral image.
Umbral, yeah.
So shades have this cool ability where they can be behind a legion and move somewhere else. So that's what's happening here.
Yep.
So in the threshold of the doorway, there is now a gunshot that you like are aware goes through your image.
Okay, so that dissipates the image then. So any interaction with it makes it disappear.
Can we tell if the gunshot's coming from within the house?
It's from outside.
It's from outside.
Yeah. You can, so it's angled down, like you can see like in the floor, like where it hit.
Okay. I immediately try to cover as much of Moore's as I can from the direction that the bullet came, with my shield held out in a defensive posture.
Yeah. I will once again command Gramps to.
So this is the second round of initiative then?
Combat has stopped for Gramps, but combat has not stopped for the outside.
Stopped for us.
For us or the outside character, one assumes.
Right. And Dirk hasn't yet gone.
And Dirk hasn't yet
I
gone.
haven't really done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dirk could shield him.
Yeah, you could just,
If he wanted.
you could just shave Deges Grants if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay.
I'm not trying to.
Well, you've got it to
kill
his
him.
throat right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to kill him. I'm trying to aid in your interrogation.
Okay, perfect. I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not trying to end him because he has information that we could potentially use.
Yeah.
Like, why are people trying to kill us?
And he could be a customer, you know.
Handy.
This could be just a complete, utter, silly misunderstanding.
Just another
All
day
those
for
years of the tourist guild has really made you materialistic.
Yeah. That's how you get a good Yelp review. Customer service.
I like it.
Went in for black market dealing, came out with a stab wound.
Yeah.
5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. So then I will proceed to command him to not only give up his colleague, but hopefully aid us in convincing the colleague to stop fighting.
Okay.
That includes a bonus from him.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
All right. So
Wars.
So Genghis visibly wets himself.
Yes.
He gasps.
Yes.
So let's go down the list here. Who's got that? Who's got the fear?
I believe stress and torment.
Yes.
So he is gasped. The character loses 2 AP for 1 round, stunned by the discovery. Examples include shock, silence, wetting oneself, vomiting, or denial.
And then what's the next step?
That's hyperventilating. The character loses 2 AP for 2 rounds and may only move at half their stride. The actions lost are spent trying to catch their breath or calm down.
So Genghis Grants wets himself, falls to the ground, and like hyperventilating, just collapses.
Next time on Deges and Dragons.
So, what is your command specifically?
For him to show himself.
So you see at the building, if you're like peeking out, or actually, are you still, is everybody inside, or are you stepping out?
I would imagine I have to step out first.
Okay.
And then I would imagine he would come with me.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I step out before him, guarding it in 8 foot.
And I do the peek.
You do the side peek.
Right, from behind his heater shield.
I'll keep an eye from inside the shop.
Okay. Yeah, so you see somebody who just stands up, pulls out the rifle, and then shoots